The most common and the biggest reason why most concrete lifters fall short with their website and why they don't drive as many leads and jobs out of their website is because they have what we call a brochure style website, or a website that's thin on content. And so I'll walk you through this example here. And, at first glance, the website looks fine. There's nothing off putting about it. It says that they do concrete lifting, fine. But as you dig into it, what we would notice here, and again, this is one of the biggest problems we see all the time, is these websites just don't have the information that your prospects come looking for, and also that Google and AI, they need to see the same content as well in order to ultimately, have you chosen as the legitimate business in your area. So if we look at this website, you'll notice, stock imagery right in the back doesn't show anything about concrete lifting there. Some generic images, and then some white on gray text makes it obviously very hard to read. Can't really scan it. And I'm in my 40s now, so that's hard on my eyes to see. And I'm sure, like many of the people in our buyer group here, that would be the same problem for customers, looking at this website. So we've got some generic HMI images, a couple of blocks of text, more HMI images. We do have one here finally kind of showing the process, and then just some more kind of generic images. And finally, we see an actual problem that people have, and a before and after photo. So, ultimately, people are going to come looking for solutions to the problems that they have, and so if you can show them those problems right away, more power to you. So there actually is a decent amount of content on this particular page, but that's kind of it. Next we've got residential lifting, commercial lifting. And if you, let's take for instance, if you're let's say you want to do pool decks. Let's say you have a pool deck at your home and you come and you're looking for somebody to hire, right? You come to this site and we had kind of a generic homepage, only one before and after showing some sort of problem, but nothing related to pool decks. There's nothing related to pool decks here. Here we see another driveway picture, and that's about it. Nothing that goes into detail as to specifically what type of work is done. If we do a search for pool decks on this page, there's nothing about it. And so this page just doesn't, obviously cover all the different problem areas that people have. Same thing on the commercial side. If you're coming as a potential customer and you're looking to hire somebody for a very expensive, potentially, concrete lifting job, you want to have absolute trust in the company that you're potentially hiring and bringing out to do a bid. And so we've got one photo here of some sort of commercial setting, but that's about it. We don't show anything about the process, what concrete lifting looks like. So this just it's lacking any sort of connection to potential buyers and what their concerns are. Again, it's not showing any problems. It doesn't show any before and after. So I guess we have a little bit of before and afters here, but you really have to kind of search for that. So it just doesn't quite translate. Now, we've got a couple other pages here. We've got an About Us page, which I do love the family photo. Those are always great. We always encourage that, so that's fine. But just a couple of photos, nothing really showing off a branded truck or really building any sort of proof here. Again, the idea is to build proof with potential customers as well as with Google and AI. And right now we just have some generic, content on this website here. We've got, just a couple other pages, FAQ page, which again is just some generic HMI sort of content, basically a couple of short FAQs, and that's about it. So that's really the extent of this website. It's in totality, it's 9 pages long. Again, you can kind of see the structure here. There's just not a lot to it, a few basic pages. Now, conversely, you got to think about your competition, right? So this is, if this is your website, is this going to get the job done and sell customers for you? Going back to the pool deck, example from before, if somebody has a beautiful home, a wonderful, nice pool area, pool deck, and they're looking at hiring somebody to come and possibly drill holes around their very expensive pool into their very nice looking concrete that they, care so much about and how it looks, they need to trust that whoever they bring out to their home is going to care for their home and do a great job and not only provide a solution, but make it look nice and be professional, all the good things. So that's the image that you need to portray on your website if you want to sell these jobs. And obviously there's different buyers for each and every one of these different types of concrete jobs, right? So we're talking about pool decks, but obviously there's a whole other side with commercial. You can be talking to warehouse, uh, you know, property managers. You can be talking to factory owners who have factory floor issues, et cetera, et cetera. So each have their own concerns, right? So if you can drill down and provide them content that shows that they can trust you because you can actually do the job that's specific to them, then you're going to sell. So when we talk about thin websites, this is what we talk about. It doesn't really go into any sort of depth, doesn't cover all the different problem areas. It just doesn't build proof. It doesn't have tons of before and afters. It doesn't have video. It doesn't it just doesn't really show that they are going to do a great job. Now let's take that pool deck leveling, and let's jump over to another site here that we recently worked on, and this is a pool deck leveling page. Now, again, if you're looking as a potential homeowner with a very nice pool deck, who would you potentially be looking to hire if you given the choice between the site that we just looked at and then this one here, which goes into lots of depth in terms of pool decks, what they have to offer. They actually show real problems around a pool deck, talk about the problems around pool decks, all these different things that are answering people's specific questions to their problem. So, this goes far beyond just saying, hey, we do residential concrete lifting, when in fact somebody might be very worried that their beautiful stamped concrete around their pool deck is going to be damaged, and maybe they just need to replace it because concrete lifter is going to make it look ugly and they don't want that. So having examples and showing and speaking to those concerns allows you to just sell through your website and to get found as well on Google and AI. So all this content, it's fuel for for Google and AI, but it's at the same time it's a fuel to sell. Again, answering all these people's concerns, showing proof, building proof that you've done this and you can do it for them, answering specific questions about their exact problem. So, hey, can you do stamped or decorative pool decks? Well, hey, we go into detail about that. So all these different things, when drilled down to that buyer, that specific problem setting and that buyer, it just allows you to, again, connect with them on their level and answer their concerns. And at the same time, it allows you to get found by Google and AI because you have all this unique information that your competition doesn't have. And if you think about it, in each market, maybe you have to beat out 5 or 10 other local competitors. So if you build these sorts of assets once, these pages are going to serve you for years and years to come. And when homeowners come looking for a competitor and then they pop up on your website and they see all this proof, I mean, it's a pretty clear choice. They're going to feel much more trusting and comfortable hiring a company who is showing exact proof and clearly has done this before. So, that's the difference between what we call a thin website and one with lots of depth that is set up to be a lead generating asset. So this is ultimately what sells, what gets you found, what closes deals, which sells for you. So 24/7, 365. And again, it's an investment to build this sort of stuff out, but you can see the clear difference. So a small thin site like this, or one that is going to get the job done and drive lots and lots of business.